guys? My name is Brian Skronsky, and welcome to the latest edition of the OH.Report video podcast. If you don't know what it is by now, basically for the next 30 or 40 minutes, me and my friends, we kind of blabber on about some of the hot topics going down in the world of sports, most in particularly, though, right here in the Buckeye State, and even more narrowed in at times on North Central Ohio. Like I said, I'm Brian, but I got the crew with me back again, and typically at this time in the show, I will introduce them one at a time, say something kind of zany and stupid, but today I'm going to allow these gentlemen to introduce themselves. We're going to start right over here. Sir, who are you, and why should people care?
Well, I'm Travis Berardi. I worked with Brian for many, many years before the OH.Report even started, but he brought me over here, and now we're doing this fun thing together.
That's right. We're having a great time here. Lots of smiles, as you can see, including on those big cheeks. God, that never gets old for me. Another guy with some decent-sized cheeks of his own. Tell him who you are.
Well, guys, I am Garrett Parlett. Obviously, Brian usually introduces me as fat, so I am fat, obviously. So you can obviously see on the screen, but that's it. I'm Garrett, and I'm fat, so let's move on to Storm.
I don't think I've ever said fat. Maybe just husky, a bit more appropriate for your size. We'll move it on, though, over to the guy. You already said his first name, but what's the rest of them?
I'm Storm Blunchley. Kind of the same thing as Garrett. A little bit of a bigger guy. I think one of the main differences is that I got mullet, which, depending on who you are, makes me more or less cool. But, yeah, just Storm Blunchley holding it down.
Business in the front, party in the back, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know too many
Always.
people that would think that you're less cool. I mean, that's street cred built in right there on the back of the salad, my friend. I dig it. All right, let's kick off today's show just because it's still fresh in my mind with the Pro Football Hall of Fame inductions that took place last night right here in the great state of Ohio in the birthplace of football, Canton, Ohio, where it was an amazing class that got introduced into there, including the likes of Peyton Manning, John Lynch, Ohio's own Charles Woodson, John Faneca. It was just a great class overall. It was my first time getting to attend it in person. I cried a bunch, man. I didn't know how emotional it was going to get and how many smiles I would also have. Just overall, just a great event. And we started looking forward, though, guys, to the upcoming class. I don't think it has quite the cachet and star power that the class of 2021 had, but let's look at who's up for the class of 2022 and pick just one, gentlemen. Who do you think is the most deserving of going in? We've got linebacker Zach Thomas, formerly of the Miami Dolphins, Darren Woodson, who played a ton of years, I think most notably with the Cowboys, DeMarcus Ware, also from the Boys, Hines Ward, his entire career, I believe, was spent with the Pittsburgh Steelers, fellow wide receiver Andre Johnson, spent a ton of time with the Texans, D-end Jared Allen, D-tackle Leslie O'Neal, O-tackle Willie Anderson, cornerback Asante Samuel, and then finally wide receiver Steve Tasker, who I don't think has been in the league for probably 25 years, so this might be his last time to be up for this. So, Garrett, we will start with you. Of those 10 dudes, who do you think is surefire when they talk about it, only going to take a few minutes, they know that dude's going to get in?
Well, obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I got to go with defensive end Jared Allen. Played for the Vikings. Originally started his career with the Chiefs, but would later get traded onto the Vikings. He had 136 career sacks. I believe he had 6 interceptions and 31 forced fumbles. I mean, you got to give it to the guy. He's a sack daddy and always had the celebration with the horn and the hook. So I'm going with Jared Allen from the Vikings.
Yeah, I think celebration alone should probably get him up over the top. And I think, is second all-time in terms of sacks for a season, if I'm not mistaken. He came up like a half sack shy of defeating Michael Strahan's record. Storm, who do you like on this list?
I'm actually going to go someone not on the list. May not be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I got to shout out Devin Hester. Played in, the NFC for a long time. Holds the record actually for most punt return touchdown in his career with 14. Dude's got a laundry list of accolades. 4-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro. Definitely a guy who I think deserves it a lot. Probably will not be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, but definitely deserves it for the terror he struck into people's hearts. People on record would not kick to him at all because they were so scared. So definitely think he believes it.
I'm a little ashamed that I actually left him off the list here, that I copied and pasted from the internet. Devin Hester, I think, certainly is going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer because of how electric that dude was. You're right. He was just one of those. He was must-see TV. Only got to touch it a few times per game, but when he did, whoo, baby, look out. We already know where he's going, right? Can we just skip over Travis?
Actually not. I will say, on the list, Hines Ward, he's tied for 16th with 85 total touchdowns. Only 3 guys ahead of him are not in the Hall of Fame. That's Fitzgerald, Gronk because they're active, and Antonio Gates because he's not eligible yet. Yeah, keep yawning, Pittsburgh
It's fine.
Steelers. When's
fine.
the last time an active Brown has been in there? I don't care. But somebody I'm asking, the Veterans Committee is going to have to vote in. Do you know Chuck Howley? Played for Dallas. He's the only defensive player on a losing team to win Super Bowl MVP, and that was in 1970. He is also the first non-quarterback back in that time to win the MVP award from the Super Bowl. 6 Pro Bowls, 5-time first-team All-Pro. He also has 1 time as a second team in 15 years, and he did get a championship ring in 1971. So, and really good numbers for him. He's in the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor, who Jimmy Johnson, who got put into the Hall of Fame 2 nights ago, is not in yet, so that's something as well. And most of all for us, he's from Wheeling, West Virginia. He's from my hometown, went to WVU, but he, and most websites say he's in the top 5 of NFL players that should be in the Hall of Fame and have not made it yet.
So no biased opinions on this panel whatsoever, right? Ever, folks. You never get that from us here on the OH.Report. We are some straight shooters. And for me, when I go through at least the 10 names that I went down, and I really do like that Hester pick. I think that was a great off-the-menu selection there for Storm. But I got to go with DeMarcus Ware. This is one guy that I specifically remember when you was watching Cowboys games, you would have to double-team him. If you're getting your name called out a bunch by the commentators on the defensive line, you know that you're doing something right. I think he's in the top 10 all-time in sacks, helped Peyton Manning get a Super Bowl win at the end of his career when he moved over to the Broncos. So DeMarcus Ware, for me, would be that dude that I would put in. No question, no conversation. That kid belongs. All right, the NFL preseason fully kicks off this weekend. Just 3 preseason games this year because the regular season, of course, they added one. So give me, though, guys, after those 17 games are in the books and then the playoffs all unwind, give me your way too early Super Bowl picks. We'll start down here at the end, Storm. Who's going to be playing for the whole enchilada when it's all said and done?
Now, obviously, of course, we'll just get it out of the way. The Chiefs are obviously the Super Bowl favorites this year, followed by probably the Buccaneers. But a wild card, or well, not really a wild card team, but a team that I think could make it all the way is the Bills. They finally have that kind of experience under their belt. They've had a year in the playoffs. They're kind of ready for it now. So I think my underdog kind of for the season, obviously, you have the top 2, but I think I'm going to go with the Bills as kind of, my favorite team to want to win it all.
And who you got them playing?
That part I haven't thought about yet, but I just got the Bills winning it.
Okay, so the Bills over somebody. Got it. G-Man?
Well, I mean, this one's tough for me because I don't want to pick the Vikings, but I am going to pick the Vikings. I'm sorry.
Kirk Cousins.
Go
We're going
figure.
to the Super Bowl. I don't know who we're playing yet. I've been thinking. I like Storm's Bills pick. They're a pretty good choice. The Chiefs. You're not going to like me about this. I got to pick the Ravens. I'm going Ravens-Vikings in the Super Bowl. Both purple teams. And I'm picking the Vikings to win, baby. Kirk Cousins is going to be horsing that Lombardi, Brian, and I'm sorry.
Not so fast, my friend. I got to go with the Green Bay Packers from your very own division. I'm not sure if you guys have been watching the highlights. Aaron Rodgers has been chopping up. It looks like they've been photoshopped. That dude can throw a football anywhere that he wants at any time from any arm angle. I don't care who his complement of receiving cores is, and he's got a pretty good one if you look at Devontae Adams and then the nice tight ends that they have built in as well. And then the defense is kind of middle of the pack, but I don't really think that matters when you got a dude like Rodgers slinging it around. And since we're not biased at all on this panel here, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. And you want to know why? I seen these dudes yesterday at the Orange and Brown scrimmage, and oh my gosh, what a complement of talent they have. And what I like most about them is that we're not quarterback poor yet. You know what I mean? Baker Mayfield's still on that rookie deal, not making a ton of money, so it allowed us to bring over a bunch of new guys in the secondary. It's going to be a totally different defense than what you saw last year. You already know about the talent. We probably have the best offensive line, period, in football. I don't really think it's that too far off of a stretch to say that the Browns can get to the Super Bowl. Now, are we going to beat Aaron Rodgers? I don't know if I'm going to make that pick just yet, but I think the Browns get it done this season. Just too much talent.
They're going to call this the last dance Super Bowl. You're going to have Aaron Rodgers and Adams coming in saying that's the last dance with the Packers against Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers in his last year. Yeah, keep laughing. Your Vikings aren't even going to win 5 games this year. Shut it. But the Steelers, Najee Harris, they got a healthy offensive line. They have healthy linebackers coming back. T.J. Watt. They're going to beat the Browns for the division. Browns are, I think, still going to make the playoffs, though. They're going to beat the the Chiefs, and they're going to beat the Bills. They're going to make the Super Bowl and take on the Packers, but I think the Packers are going to win it all.
Beat the Ravens, Browns first, Bob.
They got to beat the Bengals first.
Why don't we just rename the segment, Who's Our Favorite Team and Who Are They Playing in the Super Bowl? All right? We'll get some new graphics put together. All right, so from NFL football to football, Friday Night Football kicks off the high school soccer season this weekend, and each of us are going to be covering a game on Friday night. We're all looking forward to that, getting the juices flowing again out there on the pitch. We'll start down here with Travis. Tell the folks, who are you covering on Friday night? What are you looking most forward to from that matchup?
Boys soccer action, Crestview at St. Peter's. And yeah, you heard me right, Crestview. It's their first year with a boys soccer squad going against the St. Peter's squad that was young, only had a few wins last year. So this is a real feeler out for both sides. Who can get that first win? Who can get that momentum going? And I'm excited to see what Crestview has to offer in year one as a varsity soccer club.
It's always hard to get a program off the ground in your first couple of years. Not very many teams are super competitive right away. Shelby girls are the one exception that I think here that we've seen in the area. In year two last year, I think there was about 500. So look for some struggles for the Cougars early, but it would be great for them, of course, to kick off the season with a win at St. Peter's on the road. We'll see if they can do it. We'll have the highlight, of course, right here on the OH Report. Where are you boys going to be?
We will be at Ashland versus Southview boys, as Ashland last year went 12-5-1 in the 2020 season. But they did have a few impressive wins.
Yeah.
They knocked off Lexington 3-2. They lost to Southview last year, however, 1-4. So it's going to be interesting to see if Ashland can get their revenge against Southview this season.
Yeah, the most impressive thing that sticks out to me is definitely the defense. Only let a team score, a couple different teams score 2 goals on them. So that's definitely the thing I'm going to look out for. You know, their defense definitely held it down last year. Need to kind of pick it up, though, on the offensive end. They did have some flashes of greatness there on the offense, but going to need to pick it up a little bit to kind of support that defense.
And for me, I'm going to be the only one checking out some ladies soccer. I'm going to be over at Ontario. They're going to be taking on Dublin Drome, who didn't have a great season last year. They did win a sectional championship, but they were a little bit down. They were a young team, so this year they feel like they're going to be a little bit better. Might give Ontario a test out the box, but who are we kidding, man? These Lady Warriors are loaded. They feel like this is going to be their year. When you look at all the pieces that are returning with Potter and Spencer and Turnbaugh and Mangan, they got the girls still in net. They won 14 games last year. They feel like this could be the season, now that Taylor Huff out the picture, that they might be able to flirt with like an undefeated type of a year. The MOAC, we already know they're the queens of that division. They win it each and every season that they've been a part of it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Ontario comes out of the gates. Are they going to run over Dublin Drome, or do they get tested right away? We'll find out. Speaking of Taylor Huff, she did some amazing things during her career, set some records, and was one of those girls that, you know, set some standards here in the area. So it kind of got us all thinking, you know, what are some records in sports that you look at and you just think to yourself, there's no way this is ever going to get touched? Storm, we'll start with you. What's the most unbreakable record in sports that you think will never, ever get topped?
Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. It's got to be that. The only one to come close in recent history was Devin Booker, and I believe he had 70, and the late, great Kobe Bryant had 81. But unless there's a significant rule change that maybe would shorten the shot clock or something like that, I don't see anyone really even scoring 81 ever again, let alone 100. I think it was a different era. Wilt Chamberlain was in a league of his own. He probably should have been banned from the league for being too good, to be completely honest. But you know, I don't think anyone in NBA history will ever score 100.
He actually had 1 year. I'm going to throw out an honorable mention for him. He averaged 50.5 points per game for one season, so I think that also would be up there. I don't think anybody will probably ever top that. So Wilt is still – he's probably going to be in the record books for a while. G-Man, who's going to be hanging on forever?
Well, this isn't necessarily a good record. I'm going to go with the 1976 expansion draft team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The creamsicle.
They lost 26 straight games. They lost a full season and then almost lost another full season, their second season. But they did end up beating the New Orleans Saints. So I got to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lost 26 straight. Even the Browns can't do that, Brian.
Hey, we tried our best. Believe that, G. We suffered through a couple of rough ones. One win we had over a 2-year span. But, yeah, we weren't able to touch the Buccaneers. What to you, Travis? I'm guessing this is going to come from Major League Baseball.
You darn tootin'. Joe DiMaggio's 56-game win streak, and if you think about that over 162 games, that's 34% of the season he had a hit streak. The closest guy that came up second, he played in 1896 and 97, 45 game hit streak. And then Pete Rose, who they call the hits king, he only was able to do 44 straight in 1978. Nobody, I think, will ever be able to get even close. I don't even think anybody's going to touch 50 and get towards this streak.
Yeah, I kind of have two, even though these are all great ones, and probably none of these are ever going to get topped. But Wayne Gretzky won 9 MVP awards. I don't think that'll get touched in any sport ever. To win League Most Valuable Player 9 times, that's pretty crazy. But here in the modern society, where there's taking nights off for rest, where there's, minute restrictions, where, if your feelings are hurt that day or whatever it is, you're taking a night off. I think that Cal Ripken Jr. and what the Iron Man did, 16 straight seasons, dude never missed not a single start, 2,632 consecutive games. That dude showed up, and he was starting at either third base or shortstop for his team in Baltimore. So I think that one will never be close. And I looked up, no active player right now is within 2,000 games of that.
That's crazy. And like you said with other sports, with baseball, guys are getting just days off rest by the manager all the time now just to keep them out. And it's never going to happen.
Yeah,
They're never
every sport. I think the closest that you could say to that, maybe in football with some of the quarterbacks, like what we saw with Brett Favre, Peyton Manning for a long time, Eli as well. But
wasn't
in baseball,
Joe Thomas?
Yeah, Joe Thomas never missed a start as well. But over 2,000 straight games? That's crazy. Well, we've got a hungry crew here that will chow down on just about anything. But what about stuff that we're not supposed to? So, Storm, you actually brought this to our attention. You thought this would be an interesting topic to debate. What is a food, or I shouldn't say food, what is an item on this planet that you've looked at and you're like, I know I'm not supposed to eat that, but boy, I'd sure like to grub down.
Well, I got a top 3. I think, the first one, obviously, everyone's at least had once. Play-Doh. Their tagline is fun to play with, not to eat. So I feel like
everybody has.
At some point, every human being on Earth has eaten Play-Doh. I mean, how would things change if you could? I mean, it would be incredible. It would be awesome. It'd be probably the best snack on Earth.
Just add a little flavoring to it.
2, marbles. They just look so great. Looking at pictures of marbles makes me hungry. They look so delicious. They just look so good. And my third one, gold. I think it would be awesome. Goldschlager, already gives you that little pep in your step. But imagine just taking a bite out of a gold bar, how good you'd be feeling the whole rest of the day. I got a little gold in me. How could you not feel great?
Olympians do it all the time. When they get that gold medal, they take the bite down on it. I mean, same wavelengths as you. They
for real.
They want to take a bite out of it.
Imagine what if that was like the sweetest food on Earth, and then that would make getting to the Olympics even better.
You got me thinking about Play-Doh. Like, what if you can construct, like, a food out of it, and then it tasted like that food from the Play-Doh? I don't know. Someone out there creatively has got to be able to build that at some point. G-Man, what are you trying to eat that you're not supposed to?
Well, I didn't think about this that hard. Like, Storm, man, he had a lot of actually good ideas. I was thinking, like, I'm always chewing on the top of a water bottle cap. The caps, I'm always chewing them every time I get a water bottle and I finish it. I'm always eating the cap. I don't know if it tastes good. It's just I got to be chewing something. I'm a big guy, Brian, I know you've admitted to doing it, and there he goes. They're just so easy to taste, and the plastic on the cap, I don't know. I guess that would be my pick.
Just something good about, when you crunch it inside of the lip there. I don't know that I want to swallow it and know what it actually tastes like.
I don't think you want cancer, so that would be a bad thing if you want to try and continue to eat that.
Yeah, our producer is saying very similar to Steph Curry's mouthpiece. So there's
yeah.
other humans out there that can definitely relate to your little fetish here, G. And I didn't think about this a ton either, but something that really stood out to me, and I actually have tasted the flavor in my mouth. I used to work at a coal mine during the summers. But how about eating a big old chunk of coal? Like, what if it gives me power and energy? What if it takes me to the next level? I was never brave enough to actually swallow it and see what would happen if it got into my digestive system. I don't know. Maybe I'd turn into like some type of a locomotive that couldn't be slowed down. Might have some light bulbs actually flashing above my head. I think the coal would be a good one to put a little hot sauce on there and just really get my engine roaring. Travis?
All right. Well,
West Virginia.
What's wrong with West Virginia? Huh? Coal?
Something I
Keeps
figured
the power
you'd
on,
wanna
my
eat.
butt.
Something I thought you would want to eat.
Keeps the power on, my friend. Actually, they do make candy gold medals, Storm, with the gold foil. So technically you could do that. But mine, a Buckeye. They're poisonous. You can't eat them. But if you could, I'd always want to see, what does a Buckeye actually taste like?
Death, I think, is the answer to that, Travis. It's been explored.
If you're able to eat it and it's not poisonous, what would it taste like?
Chocolatey,
question.
probably.
I don't know.
A lot like the little ones you make out
The
of cookie
candies
dough?
with peanut butter and
Yeah, I
chocolate.
imagine they would taste very similar.
You never know.
Okay, let's go ahead and end that little
Wrap that
discussion
one up.
there, and
Yeah.
let's move on now. I know that I'm surrounded by some video game nerds here. You guys all have your own systems, and you like to dive in and be little pixel characters, so let's get the great debate going. What company is the best? We got Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo. Travis, we'll let you go first on this one. Of those three companies, who does it best?
I don't know. I had to think about this because Xbox, you got those first-person shooters. They brought Halo. I mean, everybody loves Halo. Call of Duty as well. PlayStation, that's really when Madden and college football came up. However, they did start on the Sega Genesis. Shout out to Sonic the Hedgehog as well. But, really started playing Madden when it came out on PlayStation. Nintendo, I mean, Super Mario Duck Hunt. You had the little gun shooting yep. But Tecmo Bowl. I mean, who didn't play Tecmo Bowl growing up? And then N64 GoldenEye, the original first-person shooter. And then you have the Switch now as well. With kids are playing Animal Crossing. But I guess I'd have to go with Nintendo. After thinking of all those three, I mean, GoldenEye was one of the best games ever.
Yeah, trying to
especially
play
growing
it now in 2021.
I have.
It does not
It's not
translate,
as fun,
my
but,
friend. Not nearly as fun.
I guess the nostalgia of it just.
Yeah, I didn't actually put this list together, but I also, too, kind of grew up on the Sega, and I was a Sonic the Hedgehog kind of guy. And then I also had the Sega Dreamcast, where they had their own version of football that I really grew up on. But that's not a part of this debate. I would say definitely the most iconic one would be the Nintendo. I mean, how could you go wrong with all the spin-offs that have come from Mario? Who doesn't love Mario Kart? Like you said, GoldenEye? No, I really think Mario Kart is one. You can get some sticks in anybody's hands, and they're going to want to race, and they're going to know what it feels like when you're driving in your car. God, if only I had a red shell right now to get this jerk off the road. If I just had a star to get through all this traffic. We all daydream, and I think it's because of Nintendo that has put us into that mold. Donkey Kong, Zelda. I mean, all the classic iconic games pretty much come from Nintendo, so I'm going to give the nod to them.
Yeah, it is hard to argue that. I grew up more towards the sports realm of gaming. I was more of the Maddens and the NBA, the 2Ks, so I grew up with both Xbox and PlayStation. I mean, I don't know if I can pick one. I switched from the PS2 to Xbox 360, and then I went to PS4 as I got older just because I felt like the home screen was more simplistic. It wasn't as complicated as Xbox One's is. So, I don't know. I mean, I own a PS4 now, and I wanted to get the new Xbox. So, I guess it's a toss-up between Xbox and PlayStation, but I think our expert on this topic is going to be Storm. Storm definitely has all of this in his realm.
Break it down, baby.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. Nintendo is one of the giants of the game. They're probably one of the greatest, most influential game companies of all time. However, in recent years, they've kind of fallen off the wagon, and I think stepping into that is PlayStation, actually. They've had some terrific games. They've had terrific consoles come out. It's hard to argue that Nintendo or PlayStation, which one's better, but I think PlayStation has been taking more steps forward than Nintendo has been taking steps backwards. As far as Xbox goes, the original Xbox and the Xbox 360 are the only good ones in my eyes, but it's got to be a toss-up, like you said. Mine is just between PlayStation and Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm certainly not the source to go to on this. I played Madden, and that was the only game that I really actually cared about, and I haven't owned a Madden game since Troy Polamalu was on the cover, and he just went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I am going to go ahead and allow your opinions to reign supreme here. So it sounds like maybe PlayStation, maybe Xbox, maybe Nintendo.
I'll play you in Tecmo Bowl.
Who knows? Whatever it is, I know this, guys. Whatever pixels you're watching us on right now, they're done. They're over. We're not talking anymore. We're leaving. You get to look at this pretty face. He's going to sit here all by himself like we do every single week. So just take it all in, folks.
Let the pixels fill up with this guy.
All right, guys. Ball sports are here, baby. So let's get going. Let's get rolling. OH.Report, we're out.